Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I have another drugstore foundation test for you guys. Today I will be trying out the L'Oreal Paris Total Cover Infallible Foundation. Did I say that right? I said that right. Infallible Total Cover Foundation. But before we get into it, I post new foundation first impression reviews all the time. And if this is something that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you can be alerted when I post new content. So I bought this in the shade 302, which is the second to lightest shade in the line. It retails on Ulta's website for $12.99 and it's available in 12 different shades. So let us check out some of the claims on the website. We'll get there, kids, I'm almost there. So this is what it says on L'Oreal's website. Discover the first full coverage face and body foundation by L'Oreal Paris. Inspired by the pros, up to 24-hour wear with a weightless feel. Never fades, never heavy. Formulated with a high load of pigment, this full coverage foundation glides and feels weightless. Infallible Total Cover Face and Body Foundation blends instantly to cover dark spots, blemishes, and even tattoos for a flawless finish. Okay, and the back of this foundation has some pretty useful information too. It claims to be a natural finish, wears up to 24 hours, is high coverage, and air-light texture. Interesting. So if you want to know what I think of the L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover Foundation, don't go anywhere, just keep watching. So I am a little nervous. I have absolutely no idea how thick this stuff is. It's apparently full coverage. Whoa, whoa. This stuff is like paste. Okay, we'll start with a little bit because I'm not entirely sure how heavy this is going to go on and I really don't want a whole face full of cake today. So we're gonna do, whoa, this half with the sponge, and we'll start light because I'm not sure how heavy this is gonna go on. So far the color is a little light, but it's not too bad. It matches my neck pretty well, and it may oxidize, so if it does oxidize, it's not gonna go to a crazy shade that is gonna leave a big orange line around my neck. I still can't get over how heavy the consistency is, but it is blending out rather nicely. I'm surprised. I was a little nervous putting this stuff on my face. Okay, so far I am quite pleased with how this is looking. I just got an up-close look and there is absolutely no texture on my face at all. I mean, I just got up close and my skin just looks like porcelain. Like there's no texture, there's no lines being highlighted, at least with the sponge. It's definitely not settling into any fine lines at all. So I'm gonna go in on the other side and lightly do this with the foundation brush because whenever I use a brush, it tends to go on a tad bit heavier. So I'm gonna go very, very light at first. I'm quite pleased with how it's looking with the sponge. So I like how it's looking with both the sponge and the brush, but I think I'm gonna finish up this half of my face with the sponge because there's just a couple of small areas I want to touch up on. There are these freckles coming through right here that I just kind of want to lightly touch up. There's one right here on my forehead that's coming through, and there's a bit of a melasma patch that's showing through. I don't want to go too heavy with the foundation today. It's not going to be super hot, but it is summer and I'm not a big fan of a face full of heavy foundation in the summer, and this is definitely a very heavy formula, but it doesn't feel heavy on my skin. I mean, I'm honestly very surprised. I thought this looked like cake when I squeezed it out of the tube. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but yeah, so far I am quite impressed with how this is looking. The color looks good. It matches my neck really well. There's no settling into fine lines. There's no creasing around my eyes. And meow! Of all times when I'm filming, kitty, kitty, kitty! Meow? Wanna play? Meow? Don't bring me your ball? My cat thinks she's a dog. All right. I have a cat who thinks she's a dog. Amazing. All right, back to the foundation. So far, I'm quite pleased. So I'm just going to touch up these areas that just need a little extra help with the sponge. So I'm not sure this needs a powder to set it because it definitely dries down to what looks like a matte finish. It doesn't say it's matte on the back of the tube. It says it dries to a natural finish, but there's definitely no sheen or shine to this. It's definitely more of a powder finish. So I'm really impressed in how evenly this blends onto my skin for such a heavy consistency. I was very nervous applying this. I thought there is no way this is going to blend out evenly on my skin without highlighting big dry patches, but there's not one dry patch to be seen. There's no settling into fine lines. There's no texture showing on my face. It's not caking anywhere, and it blends really well with my skin. Like, it doesn't look like, it doesn't have that I have a face full of foundation look to it, which is amazing considering this is a very thick, heavy, pasty type formula. I mean, I did touch up a couple of problem areas for me, but I still see some coming through. Honestly, probably the coverage is buildable. Yeah, that melasma patch is still coming through a bit, but again, I mean, I don't want a big heavy face of foundation today. So is it full coverage on the first pass? No. Could it be? Probably. But I'm just gonna leave it as it is. I'm quite pleased with how this is looking, and I really don't want to mess with something when it's working for me. Okay, so I'm really liking how this is looking, so I'm gonna go put on the rest of my makeup and I will be right back. So the time is 10 o'clock. So far, everything looks really good. I'm very pleased with how this is looking. I've been in the bathroom for the last half hour sweating my butt off because I have no AC in there, and this hasn't moved at all. It hasn't caked. There's no creasing around my eyes. There's nothing dry accumulating on my face. There's no texture showing up. So overall, I'm very, very pleased with how this is looking so far. But this is just the beginning of the day, so we'll see how this goes. Like, I can't get over how good my skin looks. Like, it looks like flawless. I mean, I've had episodes where I put makeup on my face and it makes me look about 5 years older, 5 to 10 years older than I actually am. This doesn't do that. This is, wow. Yeah, like it's blend. Hey, baby. Sheesh, cat. You just can't help yourself. Would you like to say hello? So the next check-in will be in natural lighting. I'm gonna go do some stuff and I will see you guys in 5 hours. Alrighty, so the time check is 3:13. The foundation has been on for 5 hours now. Overall, I am really pleased with this one. The only thing that I have bad to say about it is there's this little bit of dryness that is through my chin, but I don't know, I can't really explain it. It doesn't look patchy, it just looks a little dehydrated, if that makes sense. Because this dried to a powder finish, I didn't set it with any finishing powder. Overall, for a matte style foundation, I am really surprised how good this looks on skin as dry as mine. On its own, if I wasn't testing it, I probably would have skipped this one. But because I heard so many good things about it, I wanted to test it out myself. So other than the dryness on my chin, I'm really, really happy with how this looks. On my forehead, there is absolutely no texture at all. Around my nose is a teeny bit shiny, which I'm not used to. I don't normally end up with a shiny finish on my nose, but I noticed along the sides that it's starting to get a little bit of sheen to it. Other than the dryness around my chin, I don't really have any other issues. There's no dry patches, there's no settling into fine lines. The color didn't oxidize at all, which is amazing. So far this one is looking like a win. The only thing that I'm sort of about is whether or not this is a 24-hour longwear foundation. I don't know. I won't be testing it for 24 hours, so I can't say. But so far, at the 5-hour mark, it is holding up really well. So I will check in with you guys in another 5 hours, and I will let you know how this foundation has held up the rest of the day. So the time check is 8:23. The foundation has been on my face for a little over 10 hours now, I think. Just getting a look at it in here. I'm trying to film this quickly because it's 8:30, and although it's still light outside, we're gonna lose the light soon. You know what? This one has been a really pleasant experience overall. I was a little nervous putting a full coverage, moussey textured, dried to a powder finish foundation on my super dry skin. But, you know, honestly, so far my only complaint has been my chin. I do have some dryness happening down there, but I'm not 100% sure it's the foundation's fault because I've been editing videos all day, and when I get into editing mode, I forget to drink water, which is silly of me, I know, but I get tunnel vision and I get focused on the task at hand. So I know my throat is dry and my mouth is dry right now because I haven't been drinking nearly enough water today, and that also is reflected on my skin as well. I can't 100% say that the foundation is to blame for this because I don't have any other dryness. I don't have any on my forehead. I don't have any under my eyes. The only other area on my face that's doing something a little bit weird is my nose. It's a little bit shinier than I'm used to. I normally don't get a shiny nose. I didn't set this with a finishing powder at all. I think it's still looking pretty darn good. The color is perfect. I was a little nervous about that because this was in an opaque plastic tube where I couldn't really get an idea of what I was buying, so I just gravitated towards the second to lightest shade and hoped for the best. As it turned out, it was an absolute perfect match for me. It didn't oxidize. The only real area I would criticize a little bit is it claims to be a 24-hour longwear foundation. I mean, maybe if you set it with a powder, it possibly could be, but it's starting to break down a little on my nose area here, although everywhere else seems to be holding up okay, except my chin. I noticed it starting to wear away on my chin. However, when I was editing, I was also touching my face a lot. So I'm not 100% sure it's the foundation's fault in this case. I think there was a lot of human error involved in the foundation breaking up on my chin as well. So for a matte style foundation on my crazy dry skin, I say so far this is a win for me. I'm really excited to play around with this one some more and see. I wore a hydrating primer with this today. I didn't pair it up with the sunscreen at all because I was inside all day, and I didn't wear it with, I did wear it with a moisturizer, but I didn't wear it with a moisturizer with sunscreen. So it would be interesting to see if this oxidized to a darker shade with a chemical sunscreen. It is a possibility. This went on very heavy on my skin, but I'm amazed as to how weightless it feels. It doesn't feel like, you know that feeling when you have a really horrible foundation on your face and you just can't wait to scrub it off? I don't have that at all. I don't feel like I'm really wearing anything on my face other than my eyeshadow and my eye makeup. I mean, I sometimes forget I had foundation on throughout the day. So far, this is the thumbs up for me. So those are my thoughts on the L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover Foundation. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up so I know. Consider subscribing if you'd like to see more foundation videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!